What is up, everybody? Cinephile Mike is here. Happy Halloween again. It's episode 68 of Oscar Rewind, my bi-weekly series of video commentary reflecting the work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. I've been digging deep into those IMDb profiles, hoping you've rediscovered an old favorite or maybe found something new. As always, I'll be discussing the recent Oscar connection, awards history for the film, box office information, critical response, and as always, these reviews are spoiler-free. Now, before we jump in, do me a favor, click that subscribe button. You definitely want to be a part of all the cinematic goodness coming your way. So we have reached the end of October. It's the end of Music Month. We've been looking at all those nominees and winners of the Best Score and Best Song category, and I'm going to wrap our double feature Halloween treat and talk about Film Nation Entertainment's horror satire, Bad Hair. Written and directed by Justin Simien, the film was released in a small number of theaters in October of 2020. Yep, 2020. And a week later, it was released onto streaming platforms. As such, sorry to my box office pundits, I have nothing to report for you. But critically, as per Rotten Tomatoes, we can give a little more information on the film, which from 85 critic reviews has a score of a 62%, and a lower popcorn meter from over 100 reviews, it sits with a 40%. As for its award season, small. Vanessa Williams was nominated for Best Supporting Performance at the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. The Dorian Film Awards nominated it for Campy Flick of the Year, and a Best Independent Film nomination at the Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards. Now, it did have one win, fitting for why it's here, Kris Bowers, who won Best Score for a Horror Film from the Movie Music International Recognition Awards. Kris Bowers, the reason we are here, earned his third Oscar nomination this year for scoring the absolutely stunning The Wild Robot. Interestingly enough, his two prior Oscar nods, one of which was a win, were both in the Best Documentary Short category, and both were music-themed, but not in the music categories. He won the 2024 Oscar for The Last Repair Shop, and was nominated for the 2021 Oscars for A Concerto is a Conversation. So, let's get into what many of us feel we have in the morning, bad hair. The place and time, Los Angeles, 1989. Anna, played by Elle Lorraine, works as an assistant at Culture, an MTV-style network for African-American music artists. All she wants is to move up in the industry, but due to a series of choices that she has made, and not all good ones, she hasn't moved past her assistant role, despite wanting to be a producer or on-air talent. She's hoping that her mentor, Edna, played by Judith Scott, the programming manager of Culture, will give her a raise, a position change it's been promised, but she gets crushed when Edna announces that she is leaving. More like she's been forced out, by station manager Grant, played by James Vanderbeek, who's bringing in someone new to the station, and they're changing it from Culture to Cult. And he brings in Zora, played by Vanessa Williams. Zora is a former supermodel who's now going to be running this station, this network, this whole kit and caboodle. Feeling lost, she gets a little hopeful, Anna, when Zora seems to take her under her wing, provided she change her image. Specifically, the hair. It's all about the hair. So, Zora sends Anna to her stylist, played by Laverne Cox, to get her hair done, which involves the newest trend, a weave. She believes that the women working for the network need to adapt the less natural look to move with the times and alter the network. So Anna is not the only one who's suggested to go and get a new weave in order to keep their jobs. People begin to look at Anna differently as soon as she gets this. It's almost immediate. People are interested in her at work. A former flame tries to take up with her again. And Zora also very accepting of her. But this is not without its challenges. See, this new hair seems to have a mind of its own. And before she knows what happens, the hair comes to life and begins to engage in bizarre, and if I may say, deadly ways. As Anna becomes more embroiled with her hair and, taking a clue from her cousin, she reads an ancient story about slaves and hair and begins to realize that, this beauty that she's trying to hold on to is actually a beast. And it turns out she ain't the only one. Here's what I can say. Bad Hair is an interesting satire because it mixes both cultural assimilation, showing how the black women are conforming to the beauty standards with the long, luscious hair to compete with their people on other networks, as well as cultural appropriation and how we're seeing that, this primarily black network is being governed by a white man who thinks he knows exactly how to market and do everything because he's down with this culture. Not subculture, this culture. Justin Simien, he did this. This is his follow-up to Dear White People. If you saw that one, he doesn't shy away from leaning into the absurd. He really loves to make these smart satires. This one doesn't land as well as the first one did. I mean, he does have a fairly game cast of actors that try to lean into this absurdity. They make some campy, melodramatic acting choices, but really only two stand out. Elle, Lorraine, plays her put-upon Anna with that same kind of submissive energy that Michelle Pfeiffer did as Selena Kyle in Batman Returns prior to getting shoved out a window. And, the way she becomes Catwoman, the way Anna's hair kind of helps her grow in a little bit of confidence. And, and the fact that she becomes more confident, the hair becomes more confident. There is some nice development here. And then you have someone like Vanessa Williams. She comes in and chews through the scenery like she always does and has an entertaining arc, even if it is a little truncated and rushed. Unfortunately, aside from that, the other casting feels weak, which is a shame because you have strong performers, Blair Underwood, Michelle Hurd, James Vanderbeek, Laverne Cox, but they're all underused. Additionally, they kind of shoehorn in Kelly Rowland as a 1980s R&B diva with Usher playing her assistant partner, and it's a little upsetting. You feel that they all deserve a little bit better. And additionally, while the plot is pushed by the elements I discussed prior, it kind of gets a little bit repetitive and drags a little bit in the second and third parts of the film. There's some fun to it. There are some fun moments. There are some clever laughs. It's just, this is the kind of movie you watch it once, you chuckle, and you're probably going to forget about it a couple hours later and never revisit it. I will say, though, Kris Bowers does show great depth in scoring the film. His musical choices are perfect for the horror genre. I hope I get to see him dabble in this element a little more. I mean, these were the movies that we got during the pandemic that they had maybe kind of would have been shelved at different points because they just didn't have that attention grab. You wanted to like these. You wanted to have these smart whip satires that look at things, but if you want a good satire, go see one battle after another. That's all I'll say. In all, look, Bad Hair is not bad. I give it 3 stars. It's not awful. It's not great. There's some fun moments. There's some fun performances. And I've never seen Hair have such a murderous or active role since the MCU's badly executed Inhumans TV show. With Medusa. I don't think anybody watched that either. If you are curious to check out Bad Hair, and for Vanessa Williams and the score, there's worse ways to spend a little bit of time. You can find the film streaming on Hulu. All right, so there you have it. That wraps Music Month on Oscar Rewind. Next month, for the last 8 episodes, I will talk about films that are reflective of the last 8 winners that I have not talked about this season, and then we get back into awards. As always, if you like what you heard here, please subscribe to the channel, like and share the video, spread the word. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd, and find lots of great additional content on my website, cinephilemike.com. All right, happy watching, everyone, and until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new this Halloween.